Now we know that everything from the day traders to the swing traders is all pretty much bearish at the moment, but that doesn't mean that you can't pick your spots and figure out where price is going to lie for, you know, those long-term gains once it gets to your levels. Or obviously if you're shorting, then, you know, do your thing, you're fine right now. But looking at FTX, which if you don't know about FTX, it's a similar exchange to Binance based in the States. So they have a lot of good kind of fundamentals behind them, mainly the fact that total amount of coins is, you know, far lower than 1 billion. Plus they have obviously made a big move. I think it was 2020, and they brought out bought the rights for sponsorship names for the Miami Heat's stadium. So that's always a big thing if you know you're trying to plant your anchor as a company. But back to the chart, what I'm seeing here is, you know, we've come down in terms of the month. We're looking at the monthly, and then we've come right down, haven't broken any monthly structures. So these blue lines represent that. And then we're looking to see if this is going to be that pullback level where price is going to continue off for the next few, you know, months or leading up to the years. But I do have my level down here at the, you know, $20 price range to see if price can clip it, though it may not happen because we've had that big crash already. And as you can see, price for this month of May, we've got about 2 weeks left, is still rallying up. And if we close above this level here, you know, that's the kind of failed swing low or stop level raid that we are getting on this time frame. So I'll be happy with that if we do get that at least. Otherwise I'll be looking to see price, you know, go a bit lower. So these are my two kind of big levels where I want to see price come to. This isn't where you take action, this is the first step in all kind of things for me, where I'm like, okay, we're down here, do we fail to close below it? Great, on to the next step. And now we'll be looking at the weekly to see where we are from here. So on the weekly, good to note, we have had, let me just hide that for a moment. So on the weekly, we've had a similar kind of failed swing low where we've come down here, failed to close below these levels in the past week, and now we've opened, price is coming down again. It may test it, but at the moment what we've got is that failed swing low. The market structure is bullish. Let me just check that. Yeah, the market structure is bullish. We haven't broken any fractals, although the market is obviously bearish in terms of where the price action is going. The structure is still bullish, so we know that coming down near the bottom of this bullish range, we generally expect price to, you know, rally up and come up to the top side once we see things like these failed swing lows here. So that's kind of the play I'm looking at for the next coming weeks. We still could swim around down here for a bit, and as I said, even test these levels, but as long as the weekly doesn't close below this line here, then you know we're in a bullish market structure. So that's the main thing I'm paying attention to. If I move down to the daily, we can see, actually before we do that, big thing to note, big thing is we did have this failed swing high up here. So price came up, made our initial highs in May, $62. We came up again, nearly touching 90, but then we just failed to close. It's almost as if that never happened, and that's a big bearish shine. So, you know, that was the kind of beginning of this whole downward movement here. So if we do, you know, start to close below any of these levels, then expect price to, you know, keep dropping a little bit further. I say a little bit further, a lot further, you know, for the next few months or so. So it's kind of an if then else situation, you know, for my coders, you know what that is. It's if this happens, then Y, if X happens, then you get it. So we treat the same thing when it comes to trading. It's like, if this happens, then the probability of X happening is greater, and then we just keep moving towards that. So once we had that failed swing high, so I'm looking here now on the weekly, but that monthly chart, so all of this coming up is that wick, and then we failed to, you know, close above that this blue line here on the monthly. We didn't break any fractals on the weekly, so that's our good sign. If we had a fractal here that we broke, then I'd be very much bearish on this kind of situation here. I wouldn't be looking to see any longs from this part, which I'm going to get into a bit later in the video. So moving on here, this will be that level. If we break down here, then you know that price is probably going to do a move where it dips, closes below there, comes back in, picks up some more orders, and then continues back down. So that would be, you know, I'm not looking for anything bullish in this situation. I'm definitely going to be long term more bearish once we get some action like that. But going back to the weekly, or I say let's move on to the daily now, because we did touch on that similar situation. So we're very much bearish here, but as you can see, you know, prices come down, broken all these levels. We have a daily level where we failed to close below. If I zoom to the left or move out to the left, we could probably find it. Not sure, it's not on my chart at the moment, but yeah, there we go. So I'm just zooming so you can see that. Yeah, so there's our fractal here. You know, like you see these failed swing lows happen there, then there, and then price goes off. But understand, you know, the structure and the trend you're in. You know, even though the structure at this time was bearish, you know, on a higher time frame, I believe the weekly was bullish as well. Plus, you can see prices just rising up, and you're getting all these price levels that just pretty much fell into close below. You know, from here. Did close below there, but you see all these little pins as well. You know, if you trade pins or you look at chart patterns, you've got your setups occurring here, and then we're kind of looking to see, is price doing the same thing here? You know, we've got our pins, though we are in a bearish daily market structure, so your targets will be modest, I'd say. You know, looking to maybe touch around here, see if we close above this level. If you close above this level, the 34 35 range, then we can test these top levels at around 39, and then if we close above that, then you know that it's kind of good to go for longer term. Otherwise, you know, a fail to close above any of these levels here, then you're looking to see price kind of come down again a bit further. So let's just keep on top of that. I'm gonna drop to the 4 hour to show you that zone that I mentioned earlier. So from that weekly, this is it back out. So from that weekly fail close here, we marry that up with the 4 hour, and on the 4 hour, here's our demand zone. Price broke above this fractal here, creating this zone, and then once we come back in it, then we can see this is most likely where you want to take your orders, or most likely where orders are going to be. Again, this isn't financial information. I'm not a financial advisor. This is all for entertainment and educational purposes. So always seek professional advice where required from a qualified financial advisor. So for me, this is, you know, a zone where we would look to be taking, you know, placing our orders and seeing where, you know, matching up with our targets. So we have got a lot of resistance to break through. As I said, this 35 level, that's our first start, and you're not even at a 1-to-1 ratio there, so it's not a class A type of movement for me. But then obviously if we do close above this, and then you're looking to test these higher levels there, then that's perfect. You know, you've got a nice risk reward ratio on that one. But again, still not that, for me, not the classiest of all trades, mainly because of how the market is looking. But we take what we see. You know, we've got that weekly failed swing low, and then on the daily we have the same thing, and then we know that we're at near the bottom of those ranges for the daily and the weekly. So generally we know there's going to be a pullback. If the sellers are going to take over, they're probably going to, you know, see price climb up into these levels, or at least around here, before it then drops down. So there's your intraday kind of levels. If you're zooming further down on the 4 hour, maybe to the 30-minute, you know, 1 hour type trades and below, then you're probably going to, you know, see some good gains there in terms of risk to reward ratio. But I'm looking mainly for long term. I want to see this, you know, to see how this weekly plays out for me, and then take it from there. And that is what I have for you on the FTX token. So if you like what you see and you're hearing, drop a like and subscribe. Thanks for listening.